Well, hello everybody. This is Reverend Chris Oldham. It is January 22nd, 2020. I am here and it is wonderful to be back with you again. We have had the most amazing 12 days. I am just absolutely over the moon. You may not have experienced it that way, and there were some times in there that were kind of like, what the heck is going on? But wait until you hear what has been going on and where we are now. Yeah, we're not in the same place we were on January 10th. Nowhere, no how. It's amazing everything that we've been through. And it just so happens that I am a roller coaster freak. Okay, I love roller coasters. You can send me through all the twists and turns and roly polies and upside downs and whirligigs and everything you want. And I'm loving it. And I got to tell you, the only thing I don't like is backwards. And maybe that's a little bit prophetic for me, because man, I'm not about backwards. I'm letting go backwards, full speed ahead. So I got to tell you that the roller coaster ride that we have been on for the past 8 years, that all of us who were baby boomers, right? There's no accident. We have been working on this for 60 some years. Okay, we've been working on this. We didn't know what we were working on, but that's what we came in here for. And I have to tell you, I wouldn't change it for the world. There is no roller coaster or thrill ride that could beat this. No way, no how. From what is going on in the upper realms and the changes that are happening at the quantum and matrix levels, to how it's out picturing on ground level, the dark to light battle that's been going on. Amazing. And light wins, right? I'll give you the spoiler alert. Light wins, regardless of what it looks like right now. Light wins. We are there. So that's what we're going to talk about in today's edition of the Chrysalis. And all of this that's been going on has really kept me from being able to put out the videos that I wanted to put out sooner. You should see, right? I've got a couple of lists here. I've got like 4 videos waiting, and all this information coming to me over the past 12 days, 2 weeks. And I just keep on writing notes because I just wasn't in a position or condition to sit down and get this done, because I have to be connected, and anything that kind of futzes up your divine connection makes it impossible for me to do the work that I do. So I just have to lay low. That's like in the physical plane. If you have a cold, you can take some medication, you just push through and go to work. Well, in the spiritual endeavors and planes in which I work, that doesn't happen. You get a cold, that totally messes up your energy fields and your ability to connect. So I have to be totally balanced, full, and whole in order to work. And there are many of you that I'm sure find the same thing. So let's get going. This is so exciting. Wow. All right, so let's start first. We'll go back to January 10th, and that was when we had the lunar eclipse, which really put things in motion in the biggest way possible. Now, I'm not going to explain all of the ins and outs of gateways and matrices and this and that and the other thing that others have talked about, the astrology of it, just the inner workings of it. If you want a good explanation or good description of what was kicked off with that lunar eclipse, look up Magenta Pixie's channel. She is really good at going down deep with her group, the Nine, the white-winged consciousness of Nine, and collective consciousness of Nine. And she's very good at bringing forth that kind of information, the hows and the whys, and you know, the mechanics of the situation. I'm not going to do, that's not what I focus on, right? That's already out there. What my focus is okay, what does all this mean in practical terms? What is it doing for us, to us? What is, you know, how do we know it's happened? What can we see? What to look for in both the physical and the upper planes? And I was reminded in the last couple of days of a teacher that I had in the angel ministry. Her name was Reverend Dr. Judith Larkin Reno. She founded the Gateway University of Higher Consciousness. She worked with Flower Newhouse, learned from her back in the 60s, was an incredible angel communicator and spiritualist. One of the things that she emphasized when we went through our training was to beware of cutting ourselves off from the things that don't feel good. Not going places or doing things because we didn't want to be connected with the negative energy, staying away from stuff that had negative energy because we didn't want to be, you know, affected by it. Now, trust me, I can understand that desire at that level, but her point was that we had to have, you know, one foot on the ground so that we could experience life, and the other foot in the spiritual realm so that we could see where it was coming from, so that we could see both perspectives at the same time. And when there were things on the the ground level that we didn't like, we needed to take a hop up to the spiritual level and say, okay, what's going on here? You know, what do I need to do to feel better? You know, to rectify my feelings about this in any way that you could. Sometimes it's like put a shield around yourself, okay? But we have to participate in the physical plane. We can't just stay away from it. And it's coming home to me big time right now because we have this whole political impeachment circus going on. And there are a lot of people who, and a lot of Christian people, and a lot of that have decided that, you know, in a long-standing tradition, that politics and religion don't mix. And I'm here to tell you that that is an absolutely wrong way to think about things. If our faith, regardless of what it is, right, we have faith and we have a belief set, and doesn't our belief set include everything? I would think so. There shouldn't be anything that our belief set does not include in our life and in our experience, and that we don't, you know, we don't bring into our experience. So we have to, you know, maybe one of the reasons that politics is in the state that it's in, and government and all these other things that they, you know, that we have said, oh, well, that, you know, that and religion doesn't mix. That's out there. That's not part of this. Well, it is part of that. And the fact that we left it out allowed it to just get gnarled up and corrupted and nasty. And that's what we've been dealing with. This is, you know, the ascension is dealing with all of that. Dark to light, you know, we're bringing that all out. We're finally finding out that because we allowed this, we weren't the shepherds is not the word I want to use, but we didn't take responsibility for all of this stuff. We didn't manage it the way that we had responsibility to do, right? You can't abstain from life, because abstaining just means that you agree to go along with whatever else happens out there that you haven't made a decision about or voiced your opinion about, or put in your thing. Whatever it is, whatever you have going on, if you haven't spoken it, done something about it, not just in your mind saying, I don't think I really like that, but I'm not going to say anything. No, you have to speak up. You have to do something. That is part of our job. And the word just escaped me again. It was right at the edge there, but okay. So that's come up big time. And we have to be aware of that. Everything, our belief system has to include, envelop, and look at everything that's going on. So now, that said, let's get back to January 10th, when we had this, that really brought this huge sea change into effect. So what was happening? You may have felt last week, from maybe the 12th all the way through end of last week, Saturday maybe even, you may have felt really draggy, depressed, tired. Maybe your head was foggy and you had trouble trying to think clearly, or even, make decisions or anything else. Everything was just kind of, what is going on? You would have thought you were getting sick, but then it wasn't quite like that. And everybody had a little bit different, but over and over again, as I asked people, yeah, I was just like down. I felt like I was getting sick, and I was getting sick a little bit, and then I got rid of that, but then it was like it didn't go away. But it wasn't really sick. It was just down, tired, not right. So if you were feeling any of those things last week, and even if you were going to work, right, everybody gets all of this as they are able to, based on what their responsibilities are in the physical plane. So if you're running around, if you've got hours where, you're leaving at the crack of dawn to go to work or to drop kids off to daycare and school and whatever, and you're working, and then you're coming home in the dark. Right now it's wintertime, so you would be coming home in the dark to get everybody picked up, get dinner together, finally, get a couple of minutes to catch up with the kids and their schoolwork, catch up with your spouse and what's going on for the day, get everybody, fed, homeworked, maybe an hour of downtime and relax time, and then boom, it's off to bed and to start over again the next day. So a lot of what you will experience, you may have experienced that same kind of dragginess through the week. Other people who didn't have quite that level of responsibility would have felt more. But a lot of what happened for all of you would have happened in your sleep. And you would have been protected from a lot of the parts of this process that would have inhibited your ability to do what you needed to do. So just trust that even though you don't think you're feeling it or getting it, you are. We're all going through this together. We're all in this together. We're in different stages of it, but we're all in it together. So what the heck was all that about last week? And I have to tell you that I am not the best patient. When my energies are kind of all over the place and my connection is off, I am just going nuts trying to figure out what's going on. And I spent so much time last week trying to figure out what is wrong. Of course, when your connection is kind of like here, there, on, off, like, like the like flickering lights. It's tough to get it together and figure out. Well, what finally was shown to me when I did get a moment to figure it out is that the gateway that Magenta Pixie talks about in her video about that, the 11th, 12th, 13th of January, and all of the things that she was talking about happening in there and the momentous stuff that was going on, what it boils down to is that we were being transplanted from the old Earth 3D timeline into the new Earth 5D timeline. And I mean fully transplanted. We've been in a 5D energy for quite a while, those of us who are making the move and moving through the ascension process and moving forward and have chosen to do that at the soul level. But this was a literal switching of timelines. And so it wasn't, and some of you might say, well, yeah, I've jumped timelines before, but I never had anything like that. It should be no big deal. No. What happened here was that the timeline, we were transplanted into that timeline, but we also have our own histories and garbage and baggage, right? That would have come along with us. Well, that stuff's not allowed here. We can't have that here. All of the negativity and density and all of that stuff, that couldn't come here and contaminate this timeline. So part of what we were going through during that week was our timelines were being cleared. I had people reporting that what the heck was up, because they would just have all of these random thoughts coming up out of the blue that they'd be sitting there and all of a sudden they'd be thinking of something and somebody or a situation that they had no idea what the heck brought that up. I had the same thing and I'd be, why am I thinking about this? But when I realized it, what was coming up were thoughts and events, and things, thoughts about people and relationships and things that happened that still had some negative connotations for me. And the same with other people, that when this stuff came up, it was, it rang some negative bells for them and they had to dig in and clear it. So this is part of what was going on. Our past history, right? Our timeline, our current past history and timeline, all of that was being cleared. It was the energies were being neutralized. And all of the stuff that we were hanging on to was being cut off from ego access. Our egos, there's nothing there. There's no negative charge on that stuff anymore. So our egos are not grabbing onto it and holding onto it and using it anymore. Have you noticed in the last few days that you aren't quite as easily triggered by stuff as you might have been in the past? Think about it. You may find that's true. And that's what's been going on. We have been cleansed, not just our timelines and time, being cleansed in our past history, but the Gaia matrix and Earth history also was being cleansed of all of the negative stuff and history and darkness and all of that dark energy that has been stored in the Earth matrix, history and memory. Because trust me, Gaia has held the memory of everything that has ever happened on this planet and to it. So it's all of the stuff that we brought to it, all that we have done, all of it, all of the dark stuff, all of the good stuff, all of that has all been held in Gaia memory and her history. That was all cleansed too. How awesome is that? You know what that means? That means that all of the dark stuff that was birthed eons ago and continued on and fed and grown, and the energies of it just permeated our culture and our earth. Well, every bit of that was wiped from Earth history. All of that dark, dense, negative energy and all that created it, gone. Done. It doesn't mean it's all gone from the surface, from us and from interactions, but there's nothing to anchor it anymore or to feed it or for it to attach to. So all of the things that depend on this negative energy are kind of like flailing right now. And you can see that if you look carefully at places that have been using the tools of the negative energy to try and control us. And there is another video, one of these videos that I have to do is going to talk about the control matrix in an amazing way, had to do with a prophecy I was shown, but that's not for today. So what we're talking about here now is that we are, you want to talk about being reborn? Holy smokes. And once we've got all of that cleared and our egos aren't, there's nothing down there to attach to, And not only that, so the earth has been cleared, we have been cleared from all that dark energy and gunk so that we can fully exist in and populate, move into the 5D Gaia matrix and timeline. Not only that, but the corrupted programs that were embedded in the Gaia matrix and its functions and fed out to us, the corrupted programs like equal justice under the rule of law. That is a divine program. That is a divine tenet. It is part of universal law. And it was programmed and implanted into the original Gaia matrix and was corrupted under the manipulation of the control matrix. Okay, and we who didn't say anything or felt powerless, and I'm not going to say it's no fault of our own, okay, but we were conditioned to just allow this stuff. We were conditioned to think that we had no power. Well, guess what? We do. We do. We have so much power, it's not even funny. And that's exactly what the cabal, Illuminati, the dark, whatever you want to call it, the black hats, that's exactly what they did not want us to find out. But that cat's out of the bag and it ain't going back in. And and just yesterday I was receiving, and it was coming through me. Okay, I work with timelines and programming and matrix energy and all of that kind of stuff. So that was pouring through me yesterday, and I was getting this, it was like a message. It kept on coming, this energy coming through me down into the earth. I'm like, what is going on? And finally, I was able to figure it out. I'm being reprogrammed as to how I'm receiving messages now, which is different than I was doing straddling 3D and 5D. So what was happening was I was being shown that equal justice under the rule of law was being reprogrammed, restored as, you know, the divine programming for that was being restored into the Gaia matrix and programming. And it had already been restored into the collective unconscious. Now it was being restored into the Gaia matrix. So coming at us from both directions, from below and above, equal justice under the rule of law is being restored. And that was, you could say, well, the impeachment trial that we're looking at right now, if you can stand to look at it. Talk about boring. Anyway, I've read reports about it, and I've been on Twitter and watching people, report about this is going on, that's going on. It's like, so, but what I was being shown yesterday is the equal justice under the rule of law that was being programmed in really wasn't, it applies to the impeachment trial, yes, but that wasn't the big focus for this that's going on. The big focus for this, it was running alongside of it. Impeachment is over here, and it will be impacted by that, and yes, covered by it, but there is this extra energy, equal justice under the rule of law. How long have we been yelling about two-tier justice system? How long? Way before this all erupted with Trump's election. Way before that, we have been lamenting and the two-tier justice system, not just in this country, but throughout the world. The elites have one level of justice where they seem to get away with every damn thing there is, and then the rest of us Joe Schmoes, where I could run a red light and wind up in jail for 6 months. So just example, okay, not necessarily so. And one of the elites runs a red light and doesn't even get reported, or the cop says, watch it next time. Or the cop puts the ticket in and they go to court. And the judge says, okay, we're going to let it go this time. We're not going to charge you this time. Or there's some kind of a backroom deal made and it doesn't even make it into the court docket. It's just removed. That kind of stuff. All of the things that fly in the face of equal justice under the rule of law. So guess what? All of those things are coming up to be put to rights. All of these people that think they're going to get away with stuff just because they have money or fame or notoriety or power. I got the message, and you can do with this what you want. All of this is running alongside the impeachment trial. And I got the message yesterday that the impeachment trial is actually serving as a false flag, a white hat false flag. While the impeachment trial is going on here and everybody is just glued, their attention, the media, all glued to impeachment trial, waiting for Trump to get convicted and thrown out of office, or, waiting for vindication, whatever. Everybody's eyes are glued on impeachment. What's happening over here? What's going on? Well, I'll tell you the first thing that I saw today is all of a sudden the DOJ came up with materials that it just found in regards to General Flynn's case that hadn't been turned over to his lawyers or him. Funny thing how that happens. I can't wait to see what the end result of this is going to be and how it plays out. But as all of this, you know, the false flag, the impeachment trial is going on over here, there's a lot of other stuff going on beneath the surface. And there are going to be, I don't know whether the indictments are going to be unsealed. I'm getting a yes on that we're going to see a lot of indictments unsealed. And a lot of unhappy people being led away in handcuffs. Now, before you go any further with this, it can't be anybody who's currently in Congress participating in the impeachment. Okay, there are laws that prohibit that unless they were being indicted for something like murder or treason or something like that, crimes against the state. Anything else, they cannot be arrested while they are actively serving in Congress. So, having said that, here we have the impeachment. On the other hand, we have equality, equal justice under the rule of law, flowing down in, populating everything. And I'm just being told that this is a false flag. The impeachment is operating as a false flag to keep our attention zeroed in on it while all of this other stuff goes on without everybody, you know, without the news and everything else all over, you know, just going crazy, so that it'll be a done deal. It'll come out in the news. Not only will it come out in the news, but when it hits the courts, there's going to be a lot of changes in the way things are dealt with. And I'm also getting right now, as I'm speaking this, that this equal justice under the rule of law also applies to the corrupt judges that are sitting in federal seats all over this country. Wow, big hit on that one. Yeah, okay. Be looking for something in that arena coming up. But it's going to happen quietly because, like I said, MSM, everybody's eyes are on the impeachment. This is the amazing part of things that are going on. So we're here now. We were over January 10th. We were still sitting in the 3D timeline running 5D energies. Now, boom, boy, we are over here in the 5D timeline, Gaia Earth. Everything has been cleansed, renewed, restored, reborn, uprooted. You know, all of the nasty stuff gone. So from our history, is it still embedded in us? Do we still have it sitting around in us? And, you know, yeah, we're still dealing with some of that stuff. But it's local. It's confined to our matrix. And we have to deal with it from that perspective and clear it all out. So let me see what else I wanted to yeah. So that's pretty much what we've been through in the last 12 days. And since we have a little bit of time here, normally I would call, when I do the Chrysalis editions, as you know, I normally have a section where we call in the angels and we, you know, do some kind of ascension healing or clearing or energetic programming or repair, alignment. But I'm not doing that today because right now we're just, it's like sitting down in new, it's like putting a plant in new soil or putting down on roots. And we need to just sit and do that for a little bit. However, I will be offering, it is going to be a group energy reset session. Reset, realignment, that will clear your energies, remove all attachments that you may have. And I don't know if you've noticed it or not, but the number of entity attachments are like, I keep looking for them and they're not there. It's wonderful. The only negative energies are getting our organically created negative stuff from other people and their words and vehicles like, Twitter. Twitter is one of the worst, and Facebook and YouTube is another one. I hate to say it, that the energies are really bad for YouTube, but these are things that interface us with the 3D timeline. We are fully in this one, but we are also able to interface with the 3D timeline, and some of these things straddle both of them. So we really need to get cleared. We need to get, and it's a rebalancing session, because after the last week, our energies and our systems have just been sort of put through the wash and spin cycle, and we need to sort of get back into ourselves. We need to get cleared. We need to do some chakra work and clear that out, and get that all balanced again, and get our auras cleared to just energetically help us to set ourselves into the new soil and just sort of snuggle down into it as a nice, in a nice balanced way, and to not bring any more of our stuff into this, to help keep us from programming Gaia with any more negative stuff. We don't want to put that into Gaia memory. We want to try and keep that out of there. So I'm going to be offering a group energy reset and rebalancing session, and I will put the link to that. It's going to be a paid group session, and I'll put the link to that in the description below the video, and I would love to have you join me for that. The angels always give more than you ever expect, and we don't stop when I work together with them. I don't tell the angels what to do, even though it sounds that way. They have already been instructing me if this is what we need to do, and I basically am asking them to do what they have said, right? We have to ask in order to receive. So I act as a proxy in that respect. And we never stop until the job that needs to be done is done. So whether that takes 20 minutes or whether it takes an hour, that's what we'll do. So I'll put that in the description down below. And lastly, I wanted to share with you something that I was shown. This applies to the star seeds. In the last couple of months, I have gotten a couple of new guides, spirit guides. And both of them are ETs. And I don't have any human guides right now. Okay, so I have no human guides right now, just the two ETs. So I said, Okay, so what's that all about? Why do I just have the 2 ET guys? What are you guys here for? What I was shown and told is that they are here to work with us, the starseeds, in partnership. And that the image they showed of me, if you could think of, you know, here's our guides and here's the starseed, right? And you can think of a cord, an energetic cord of light, cord, thread, beam, right between us. And they gave me an image of all of the starseeds who are paired with ETs, them working above the earth and us working on the physical earth environment, literally taking this cord of light and sweeping through it maybe not a cord, maybe it's even a sheet of light, okay, a plane of light, and taking that and sweeping the earth to sweep away the false light. The false light is the last bastion of the dark that remains, and it needs to be swept away and exposed as well. And that's what we're doing. That's why and if you ask, there are many of the starseeds, maybe some of you listening now to this broadcast, if you ask or you know, investigate, or you already know, you are paired with a couple of ET guides, light workers. And that is why, because we're sweeping away the vestiges of the false light and the deceit and the lies that the false light brought to many spiritual people on a spiritual path who were deceived into moving in the false light direction. And the false light direction keeps us hooked into emotion. And emotion is a mental and ego response to resonance with something. All right, that's why, and the false light keeps us hooked into this. So the love that we feel, right, that love emotion, that's a deep resonance with something. And sometimes that resonance isn't with something that's really good, right? There are a lot of codependent relationships where we're feeling that love, but it's only because there's a deep resonance, a commonality there that is coming through to us as a love emotion because it's resonant. And so if we're being pulled around by what, you know, these people of spiritual persuasion who have been duped by the false light, like, oh, we have to save this, and oh, that's awful. But, you know, oh no, it's okay, you know, to do nasty things to other people, but oh, it's awful to do things to animals. You know, we have to get out of that. And you can see that, you know, you can, when it comes to how we deal with things that go on in the world, and I'll be putting out things about this, but the Christed consciousness and the Christed light is all about love. And we're not talking emotional love. We're not talking about resonant love. How do you know if it is false light love or emotional ego love? Because you can't apply it to everybody. If you can say, oh, I love this wonderful spiritual person that does so much good for the world, and I hate Trump. Sorry, you can't do that. It doesn't work that way. If you can't feel it and apply it to everything, then it's false light. And I know there are people that are going to argue with me about that, and I accept that. But I'm telling you it's truth. So that being said, that was the last thing that I wanted to share with you today. Of all of the things that have been going on this week, I hope that my sharing has helped you understand what's going on a little bit better and helped you to settle in to your new home. Now that you understand and you aren't saying what is going on here. And last Sunday would have been the first day that we were fully settled in the new home. We were kind of sleeping in our new beds. And reports from all over, people saying, wow, I feel so much better today. Yeah, you did. And that's why, because we were finally back fully transplanted in our new little watering, our new little home. So now let's get balanced and reset so that we are ready to move forward in the way that we're meant to. And there's more coming on that. Boy, I've got the videos to do now. Showed you my list. So thank you all for being here with me. I love you all so much. I thank you for your support. And I also want to send thanks out to Bill Ballard for his support of me on Facebook. And that meant a real lot to me and helps me move forward. And if any of you have gained from this and are so inclined, you can send me donations through PayPal. The link is down below. That's not why I do this. I do this for free, but I'm not supported by anybody else. So anything that comes is always welcome to help me move forward and do what I need to do. So love you all. Thank you very much and good night.